You have been playing by rules that the other side abandoned a long time ago, and that gap between your honesty and their strategy is exactly why they keep winning. Your honesty is a virtue. In the right context, with the right people, it is one of the most powerful things about you. But honesty with a dishonest person is not virtue. It is a gift they did not earn and will absolutely use against you. You told them the truth about your plans. They used it to get there first. You told them your concerns. They used it to know exactly which pressure points to push. You were honest about your feelings. They used it to know when you were vulnerable. Here's a real example. Think of someone in your life, a colleague, a former friend, someone in a negotiation who always seemed to know just the right thing to say to destabilize you. They knew because you told them, not in one conversation, in 100 small ones where you were honest and they were collecting. This is not about becoming dishonest. This is about understanding that honesty is a policy, and like all policies, it should be applied selectively, based on who you're dealing with. Machiavelli wrote about this with surgical precision. He watched honest men be systematically dismantled by strategic ones, not because honesty is wrong, but because honesty without discernment is a vulnerability that strategic people exploit every single time. Today, you are going to understand the difference between being an honest person, which is who you are, and being indiscriminately transparent, which is the behavior that is costing you. Your character does not change, your strategy does. And by the end of this, you will know exactly who has earned your honesty and exactly what to do with everyone else. Machiavelli called indiscriminate honesty one of the most reliable ways to lose, not because the honest man is foolish, but because the dishonest man knows exactly how to read and use what the honest man gives away freely. Stay with me, because what comes next will not make you less honest, it will make your honesty worth something. Here's what you were taught. Honesty is always the best policy. Treat others as you wish to be treated. Be transparent. People will respect you for it. These are good principles for good people in good faith interactions. The problem is that not every interaction is a good faith one, and you were never taught how to tell the difference. You were taught to apply honesty universally to good people and bad people alike, and that universal application has cost you. Dishonest people are not playing the same game as you. They are playing a different game entirely, one where your honesty is not reciprocated, but cataloged, where your transparency is not respected, but leveraged, where your vulnerability is not protected, but targeted. You have been bringing sincerity to a strategy meeting, good intentions to a chess match, an open hand to a room full of people who are counting your cards. The painful truth is this: dishonest people rely on honest people to remain honest. Your predictability, your consistency, your openness, these are not just virtues to them. They are features of a system they have learned to exploit. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. You are not learning to become dishonest. You are learning to become discerning. The difference between those two things is everything. An honest man with discernment is the most powerful version of that man. He gives the gift of his honesty to those who have earned it, and he gives nothing to those who have not. That selectivity makes the gift worth receiving. The man who is honest with everyone is trusted by no one in particular. The man who is known to be selectively honest, who chooses carefully who receives his transparency, is trusted completely by those he has chosen. That depth of trust is incomparable. Machiavelli was deeply honest with his inner circle. His letters to his closest allies are among the most transparent documents in Renaissance history. He was not a dishonest man, he was a discerning one. That is the model. Not dishonesty, discernment. Not closing yourself off, choosing carefully who gets access to your interior. Those are not the same thing. 500 years ago, Machiavelli watched this play out at the highest levels of human power. And what he wrote about honesty, strategy, and the man who survived both is the clearest guide to this subject ever produced. 6 lessons. Each one will protect something specific that indiscriminate honesty has been costing you. None of these lessons require you to lie, not once. Discernment is not deception. Silence is not dishonesty. Selective sharing is not manipulation. Keep that clear, because the lessons only work when you understand what they are not. Machiavelli understood something that most men never learn. Your character and your strategy are not the same thing. Your character is who you are. Your strategy is how you navigate a world that is not always playing by your rules. Let me show you who he was, and then what he saw that most men never let themselves see. Niccolo Machiavelli was one of the most honest writers who ever lived. He wrote things about human nature that every previous writer had been too polite or too afraid to say plainly. His honesty was radical, and it was also surgical. He was honest in his writing, completely, dangerously honest, and he was strategic in his dealings, selective about who received what information, when, and in what form. He saw no contradiction between those two things. Neither should you.
He was exiled because powerful men feared his honesty in print, not because he was deceptive in practice, but because his written honesty made the mechanisms of their power visible. Honesty at the right level, aimed at the right target, is the most destabilizing force available.
He wrote, "A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good." Read that carefully. He is not telling you to stop being good. He is telling you to stop assuming everyone around you is. That assumption that the person across from you is operating in good faith is the single most expensive assumption an honest man can make when it is wrong. And Machiavelli spent his life documenting exactly when and how it goes wrong. 6 lessons drawn from his work on strategic honesty. Each one will give you a specific tool for navigating the gap between your honest character and a world that is not always honest back. These are not lessons in deception, they are lessons in discernment. The line between those two things, once you can see it clearly, makes all the difference. Your honesty is not the problem. It is one of the best things about you. The problem is the assumption that everyone around you shares it, and the behavior that assumption produces. Machiavelli's gift to you today is not a new character. It is a new context for the character you already have. That shift in context changes everything. 6 lessons. Pay attention to which ones sting slightly. Those are the ones you need most.
Lesson 1. Before you share anything of value, read the person across from you. Not their words, their pattern. Words are cheap. Patterns are the truth. A person's pattern tells you whether they are operating in good faith. Do they share as much as they receive? Do they keep what you have told them private? Do they use your honesty to understand you or to position against you? 3 questions. The answers are almost always visible if you are watching. Most people reveal their pattern within 3 interactions, not through what they say, but through what they do with what you give them. Give small amounts of honest information early. Watch carefully what happens to it. That is your intelligence test. Starting today, before any significant honest disclosure, ask yourself one question. Has this person shown me, through their actions, not their words, that my honesty will be handled with care? If the answer is not a clear yes, the answer is no. Machiavelli ran this assessment continuously in every diplomatic encounter. He offered different levels of information to different people based on their demonstrated pattern, never on their stated trustworthiness. Words are what people want you to hear. Patterns are what they actually are. Lesson 2. Stop sharing your plans with people who have not proven they are on your side, not because they will necessarily sabotage you, but because they might, and that possibility costs you more than their advice is worth. When you share your plans with someone who is not fully aligned with your success, you are giving them a map of your intentions. They now know where you are going. They can get there first. They can block the path. They can wait at the destination.
None of these are hypotheticals, they are patterns. The rule is simple. Share plans with people who are already proven allies, people whose success is tied to yours and who have demonstrated that through action. With everyone else, share results after they happen, when it no longer matters who knows. Starting today, when you feel the urge to share what you are working on, pause. Ask, is this person an ally by action or by proximity? Action allies get the plan, proximity associates get the result. Machiavelli never announced his strategies to anyone who had not demonstrated complete alignment. His most effective moves were invisible until they were complete. The invisibility was not secrecy for its own sake, it was protection for what mattered most. Lesson 3. Your emotional honesty, sharing how you actually feel, is one of the most intimate and powerful things you can offer another person, which is exactly why you should not offer it to people who will use it as leverage. When you tell someone who is not safe how you actually feel, you are handing them a remote control of your emotional state. They now know what makes you anxious, what makes you angry, what makes you desperate. And in the hands of a strategic person, that knowledge is a tool they will use at the most inconvenient possible moments. You know this has happened to you. Someone brought up exactly the right thing at exactly the wrong time. The precision of the attack told you they had been holding that information, waiting. Your honesty was their ammunition, and you loaded the gun. Starting today, reserve your emotional honesty for people who have demonstrated they will protect it. Not because emotional honesty is wrong, but because it is precious, and precious things deserve protection. With everyone else, you can be warm, you can be present, you can be genuinely engaged. You do not need to be emotionally transparent to be a good person in any interaction. Warmth and transparency are not the same thing.
Lesson 4. You do not have to lie to protect yourself. You simply have to stop over-clarifying. Strategic ambiguity, giving people less to work with than they want, is not dishonesty. It is self-preservation. Most men over-clarify because they are uncomfortable with ambiguity. They feel that leaving things unclear is somehow dishonest, even when the other person has no right to clarity. That discomfort with ambiguity, that compulsion to explain, hands information to people who never deserved it. Here is a real example. Someone asks where you are with a project. You are behind. You do not have to say you're on track, that would be a lie, but you also do not have to detail exactly how far behind and why. I'm working through some details is true, non-committal, and gives them nothing to use against you. Starting today, when someone asks for more detail than they need, give them less than they want, but more than a lie. The space between those two is strategic ambiguity. It is honest, it is protective, and it is completely within your rights. Machiavelli used strategic ambiguity constantly in diplomatic correspondence. He told the truth, but he told the portion of it that served his purpose. He withheld the rest, not through deception, but through precision. Precision is not dishonesty. Lesson 5. Some people in your life are collectors. Every honest thing you share goes into a file. Every vulnerability you reveal gets cataloged. Every plan you announce gets noted. And at some point, that collection gets used. Collectors are not always hostile. Some of them are friendly. Some of them are charming. Some of them seem genuinely interested in you. The collection is happening behind the warmth, not instead of it. The warmth is often the collection mechanism. The sign that someone is collecting is simple. The information flows one way. You share, they listen. They ask follow-up questions about your situation, your feelings, your plans. But when you ask about theirs, the information is vague, redirected, or absent. Information asymmetry is the signature of a collector.
Starting today, notice the flow of information in your conversations. Who shares as much as they receive? Who takes without reciprocating? That asymmetry tells you exactly who is collecting and exactly what to stop feeding them. You do not need to confront them. You do not need to cut them off dramatically. Simply, quietly, stop feeding the collection. Give them warmth. Give them basic courtesy. Give them nothing they can file. Lesson 6. All of the previous lessons protect your honesty from misuse. This one tells you what to do with it instead. Give your full honesty, completely, freely, without reservation, to the people who have earned it. The point of protecting your honesty from those who misuse it is not to become a closed person. It is to make the honesty you give to those who deserve it more complete, more real, and more valuable than anything you could have offered when you were giving it to everyone. The people in your inner circle, the ones who have shown through action that your honesty is safe with them, deserve everything. Tell them your real plans. Share your actual fears. Be genuinely transparent about where you are struggling. That depth of honesty in a verified relationship is one of the most powerful things available to a man. Starting today, identify one person in your life who has consistently demonstrated that your honesty is safe with them. Give that relationship the full version of your transparency. See what becomes possible when genuine honesty meets genuine safety. Machiavelli's inner circle received his full honesty. His letters to Vettori and his other trusted allies show a man of profound transparency, sharing fears, failures, and genuine thoughts with complete openness. That honesty built the alliances that preserved his legacy through everything. The selective protection of his honesty made the genuine version of it possible.
The old pattern is finished. The version of you that gave your plans to people who used them to get there first, that shared your fears with people who filed them for later, that was honest with everyone and trusted by no one in particular, that pattern is done. You are a weapon pointed at your own future. An honest man who knows who deserves his honesty is more powerful than any strategic man who never gives it. Because when he speaks, people know it is real. When he commits, people know he means it. When he trusts, people know they have been chosen. That carries a weight nothing else can match. You belong to no one, not to their right to your transparency, not to the social expectation that honesty is owed universally, not to the discomfort of leaving things appropriately ambiguous with people who have not earned clarity. Your honesty belongs to you and to those you choose. Machiavelli remained one of the most honest writers in history and one of the most strategically discerning men of his time. He proved that those two things are not in conflict, they are complementary, and so are yours. If this reached you, it reached you because you have given your honesty to people who did not protect it, and part of you always knew something was wrong with how that was going. Subscribe if you are the kind of man who takes his honesty seriously enough to protect it. This channel is for men who want to be both principled and effective, and who refuse to believe those two things are in conflict. Every week, one more layer, one more tool for navigating a world that does not always play by your rules without abandoning the rules that make you worth dealing with. Be here, honest, discerning, both. Before you go, leave your answer in the comments. I read every one. Here is today's question. Think of one time your honesty was used against you. Now that you understand what was happening, what would you have done differently? And more importantly, what will you do differently from here?